Welcome to SlamCast, where we chat with creatives about their process and how they navigate the grind of promoting themselves. We're your hosts. I'm Brea.
And I'm Neil. We're both studio technicians and producers here at Slam Academy, a music production school and online and in person based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Today, we're here with Terrell X, aka Carnage the Executioner. He's a Minneapolis-based hip-hop artist, beatboxer, MC, and producer. Give it up for Carnage, everybody. Crowd goes wild. Thanks for being here with us today, Terrell. Terrell X.
Terrell X, all that.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So we want to get to know behind the scenes Terrell and take us back to baby Terrell X, baby Carnage. And how'd you get your start into music?
Well, I would say as soon as I heard music, I started.
Yeah.
As soon as I knew what it was, well, I guess I didn't always know what it was. When you're little, you don't have words for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I heard rhythmic sound, I would say I started studying. And I was enamored by everything I heard, all types of music, all types of sounds. And I just basically started dissecting and analyzing music as early as I could remember, until I got to the point where I wanted to start making music myself. And again, I didn't say to myself, yo, I'm going to start making music right now. It just kind of naturally happened. But starting with memorizing songs that I was hearing, putting my memory on the arrangements and the sequencing of songs. Then when I would hear, I
have no idea.
Aliens?
That was interesting. You never heard that before, huh?
Never heard that before. I don't even know where it came from.
If something weird is going to happen
Bluetooth.
for the first time, it's going to happen with me.
Yeah, there we go.
I've learned
Not
that.
sure.
As of right now, I don't know what that is. So,
Okay.
So when I started, memorizing and analyzing music, that was the beginning. I would kind of put my memory on the arrangements and things of songs, the sequencing. So I became I would say, quite astute in remembering how songs were arranged. So memory was my biggest teaching tool.
mm-hmm.
And since I couldn't play music physically, I didn't have access to instruments. I wanted to play drums, didn't have access to drums. Wanted to play guitar, didn't have access to guitar. Wanted to be a DJ, didn't have access to the turntable to put my hand on it and move it back and forth. After I saw Rocket, Herbie Hancock, when I saw the video for that and heard that song, I was like, I want to be a DJ.
Yeah.
And the only turntable I had access to was my mom's, but she would break my hand if I put my hand on the record.
Oh, definitely.
So I wasn't going to do that. But that was the beginning, just kind of memorizing and analyzing music. And then beatboxing happened. Beatboxing became a phenomenon when I was 10 years old. I heard Fat Boys and I was like, yeah, this is something I can do. So I just started teaching myself how to beatbox. And I was probably, dare I say, pretty good by the time I was 12.
Oh, shoot.
I would say I was pretty good by the time I was 12. I had good rhythm. I could keep a beat. I had sounds. I had technique. And all of that really came from studying, analyzing, and memorizing music.
Mm-hmm.
So, becoming a beatboxer was easier for me. It was easy. I would say I feel like it was easy for me because I was already rhythmically inclined. I was already into drumming. I was already into, the arrangements of beats and patterns of sequencing and drums and things like that. So I was ready. And then by the time I was 12-ish, 13-ish, I started teaching myself how to rap. And again, I had rhythm because I had that internal mechanism of drums in my head, so I could write rhymes without a beat because I had a natural beat in my head.
Sure.
There it is again.
Aliens are trying to talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, That's what it was. That was the beginning. And I pretty much never looked back. I've always been into music. I've always studied it. I study it now more than I used to when I was younger, and I understand it. Even though I don't know how to play any instruments, I don't know how to read music. I don't know what notes I'm hitting when I'm making sounds, but I don't need to, because I can match. Sound and rhythm and pattern matching is how I navigate through the musical soundscape.
More of a feeling than the knowledge.
Feel, all feel and listening.
Yeah.
Like I'm a really good listener to music.
Did you start performing in front of people when you got into beatboxing, or how long did it take for that?
I mean, I would beatbox in front of friends, because all my friends at that time were beatboxing too.
Okay.
The difference between myself and them is that I stuck with it. By the time I was, when I started teaching myself how to rap, I was still beatboxing. I still knew how. And then by that time, all the people I knew who knew how to rap weren't really beatboxing. So I was one of the only beatboxers I knew.
Sure.
And that would prove to be an advantage for me later when I could rap and I needed to have beats that I couldn't get from anybody else. I could make them myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how things evolved for me musically.
Nice. Was there a point where you started recording yourself beatboxing at any, like, to get your, like, when you first started doing it?
That's a great question. I don't think I ever really recorded myself beatboxing, because I didn't have access to recording stuff. But by the time I was rapping, I had a tape player that I could put a blank tape in and record over another tape. So we would see, they had the tapes. They had the little plastic piece on the top of it, and if you break the top plastic piece on the top of the tape on the two sides, you could record over a tape. And so, like, if we got an old tape that was like, some BS music that I didn't really like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna flip this and turn this into a recording. I think that's how it was. Yep, you could break the thing out and then record on it. But if it was in there, it was unrecordable onto. You couldn't record onto it. So by the time I started rapping, I could put a tape in and then hit record and then record myself rapping. And one of the things I used to do, actually, if I had access to two tape players, I could record with one and play the music on another one, and then just put my face between the two of them and rap. So we used to do that. I used to do that. I made myself a little demo tape of me rapping over a Public Enemy beat, Public Enemy instrumental, Security of the First World, off of the It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back album, which is the best album in hip hop. Go look it up if you've never heard it.
We'll put it on the screen.
Yep. and the little instrumental was Security of the First World. And I would write raps to that and then say my raps to that beat with one radio playing it and the other radio recording it all. And that's how I had my little tape.
Do you still have any of those tapes?
I think there's one somewhere.
Okay.
I'd have to dig up some shoe boxes, because
Sure.
we kept tapes in shoe boxes. That's how we got down. But I'd have to go through a couple shoe boxes, because I have a lot of tapes. I was a big tape collector. So it would be fun to go through all of those things and then pull out my old my little radio that I bought from Walmart. I got a little double cassette deck tape player from Walmart. And then I could just play my tape on there and see what it sounded like. And I remember first hearing my voice, I was like, God, my voice is whack. Like when you first record yourself, you not like your voice. It's not cool. And so I learned to appreciate what I have, because I can't do anything else with it. I can't change it.
Right.
So then when I became a rapper and learned to like my voice, I started doing different things with it to make it sound cool. And that's about it.
You have a very hip hoppy style of rapping, or like your vocals are very, they're really really cool and rhythmic. We were listening to a bunch today, and I was just like noticing that sounds like very rhythmic and very cool.
The rhythm, I'm telling you, like wanting to be a drummer was very helpful to me when I started writing rhymes, because I was very percussive. I'm very percussive with my flow. It's And when I'm doing that, I'm hearing drums. That's what I'm hearing when I'm freestyling.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hitting words on the hits.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Did you have support from your family and friends?
Nope. I had a few friends that rapped too and did music with me, but I didn't really have family support.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I even had family members like later when I started kind of making a career out of it, telling me, "Hey, you gonna get a real job?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Really? Y'all ain't saying that now? When I make more money than all my family members doing music.
Yeah.
They don't do music, but I make more. Like, let me quit hating." Well, I'm gonna just say, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really have the most supportive family, but guess what? I support myself so I can make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's good. You persevered. You didn't listen
persevered.
To him.
Hey, got to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Your
100%.
own biggest cheerleader. Yourself.
That's it.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because Neil and I really didn't have like people being like, you should be a musician and quit your full-time job either.
Yeah.
So
nobody's telling you that you should do what you want to do.
Right.
No.
They're telling you, hey, why don't you go and get a job from somebody?
Yeah.
Be corporate. Like, you know, I don't like to take orders. I don't like to be told what to do.
Same.
I think I realized that. Right.
If you tell me to do something, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And exactly. I feel kind of the same way. Are you a Sagittarius or something? Because that's how we
I'm a Taurus.
Okay. Well, okay. That's close enough. Yeah. I was like, you know, I don't like to be told what to do. So I'll tell myself what to do, and whatever consequences come about because of it, then I'm the one who has to deal with it. I don't get to be mad at anybody else because I didn't listen to what they said anyway. So, I mean,
that's funny. I know. It's so funny. We're even talking about that now. I'm 35, and my dad's like, "Hey, did you see that corporate Walmart now hires people without college degrees?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about that?"
You like can't get it.
Like,
give
Dad,
it up.
did you get a degree?
He's still holding on to
have a degree, but
what? Are you going to go and get that job, Dad? That you're suggesting to me, Dad?
Exactly. I'm like,
Later for that.
I love all my jobs. I podcast. I'm a DJ. I perform.
You do what you love to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't as much feel like work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like they said, you know, and that's kind of a cliche thing, but it really makes sense to say, you know, if you do what you love for a living, you never feel like you work a day in your life. And I really, you know, of course, there's a lot of work and a lot of time that's spent, you know, doing things within our respective art forms.
Yeah.
But it's way better than getting up and going and working for somebody else and making them rich.
1000%.
You know, I'm not making anybody else rich. I'm putting money in my own pocket, you know, and giving people a service, you know, or selling. Now, I'm not giving people none. I'm selling because I don't have to anymore. You know, I'm selling people a service and they'll pay for it if it's worth it to them. And if it's not worth it to them, then you can get somebody else and I'll go to somebody who is.
Right.
Yeah. I don't get mad about it anymore. You know?
Art is very valuable.
You have a product. You have like a confident in your like what you present as a musician to not have to be like, hey, they don't need me. I'm not for you. But I know that there's someone that's going to need me or like what I'm doing.
Exactly. That part right there.
It takes a while to get to that, but when you do, it's really a little bit liberating to yourself.
It's very liberating. And how old are you? You said you're 35?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have that. Before I had it, I didn't have that when I was 35.
Oh shoot!
I didn't get it until a little bit later, and I spent years being upset and bitter, you know, and then I found that it didn't get me anywhere. Like being bitter about something you can't really change is just stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, what am I good at? What can I change? What do I have that's actually under my control? And I built my own lane, and I said, you know, now I don't have to be mad about somebody not wanting what I have because I know what I have is viable and valuable enough that somebody's going to pay for it. And that's where I'm at now.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Good feeling.
It is a good feeling. It is a very good feeling.
I've finally gotten confident enough to be able to like charge for stuff like this and charge for the DJ gigs, and like I'm not going to do stuff for free no more like that. Once you know you're worth it.
Right.
Exactly. Knowing your worth.
And then coincidentally, everything just gets so much easier after that. And
it does.
The money can start flowing, the happiness can start flowing a little bit easier. It's like a block has been taken out.
Yep. And you control it. I mean, we control our feelings anyway. We try to act like external things need to dictate how we feel about things. It's all about how you view everything. How do you think about it? When you think about something, you know, whatever thoughts you're putting into your mind will influence your feelings. And if you feel good about what you do, then, or if you think what you're doing is valuable, then you'll feel good about it. And those are your feelings. You control it.
Therefore, it's valuable.
Therefore, it's valuable.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So, you're a local Minneapolis producer in hip hop and everything. Are you from Minneapolis?
I am. I was born in Chicago in 1974. I've been in Minnesota since I was about 5 years old. So I guess I'm a Minnesotan now, depending on who you talk to.
Sure.
Minnesotan.
Minnesota be like, yeah, you've been here for so long. And in Chicago be like, well, if you're from Chicago, you've always been from Chicago. You're always from. And then some are like, well, if you've been gone that long, then you ain't from here no more. Make up your mind, whatever. I'm from wherever I want to be. I go where I want and make it my home if I decide to. So it is what it is. And right now, Minnesota's my home. So
cool.
Nice. I love Minnesota.
I do sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes. Not in the winter. Bitter.
Damn, dude.
we're so abused by a state we love so much.
Oh, but now we have our new season. Our current season now is construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's construction / summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hit it on the way here.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Literally closed the highway. It's like, yeah, the one I go on.
Sometimes your GPS don't tell you.
Nope.
No.
Google's better than Apple for that.
Yep.
Wow, did you just turn on Apple?
No, just the maps.
I'm kidding.
So since you're from Minneapolis, like how old were you when you started performing and rapping like on stages and getting into like the local Minneapolis scene?
I would say I did my first real show when I was like let me see how old. I was like a junior in high school. I did a talent show. Well, before that, I had hopped on the stage at the end of another talent show, and I was rapping, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I can't be whack.
Yeah.
I can't be being whack.
No.
I can't be being whack. So I worked on it, and then when it was time to do my junior high school performance, I was ready, and I killed it.
Oh, cool.
Me and my boy DJ Excalibur. Shout out to Excalibur. You should watch this. That's my dude. That's my brother forever.
Hit him with the link.
I will hit him with the link. And we hopped on the stage at my high school. We did a 1-song concert, and it was fun.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was. That was my first time. I was 16. Yeah, it was going on 17. Yep.
Fun. And that's when you knew you just wanted to do that?
That's when I knew. I was like, I'm gonna be on stage. I'm gonna rap.
It's a calling, isn't it?
It was a calling, man.
It's super addicting.
Yeah, it was fun. It was the reaction was good, and we were rapping really fast. we was doing our thing, and I think that was 90. That would have been 92, 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
And we was doing the thing. We was doing the thing. It was fun.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
How did you, I guess, up until the point where you were a full-time artist and you could do it as a career also, what were you doing in the meantime to kind of bridge that gap?
I was a social worker.
Oh, okay.
I worked at a couple like group homes and shelters, and I worked as a probation officer for a little bit in Dakota County, and I worked as a social worker for foster kids, placing foster kids in foster homes.
Okay.
So I did that because I was in the system when I was younger too. So
Sure.
I was like, once I got out of college and with my psychology BA, I was like, I'm gonna go back and do work in areas that I was in when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
So that I felt like that was something I felt like I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't pursue. Yeah, I didn't pursue being a full-time musician at first because that was my hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And I had practiced so much at it though that I was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was pretty good. I was still a social worker and getting respect on the scene.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like I guess I had it in the back of my head that if I ever was to take the full-time leap, I would be ready in some way, shape, or form because I had done so much work, at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was time to leave the field of human services, I got into being a full-time musician, and it was a natural transition. So it wasn't too hard, it wasn't too forced, and I never looked back I did look back a couple times. Actually, I looked back twice between 2007 and 2015, it would have been. I was kind of questioning where I was going with this.
Sure.
And then I said, for lack of a better term, I said, quit being a little bitch. To myself, I said, quit being a little bitch, man. You know what I'm saying? Go out and get it. Quit complaining. There's no reason to complain. And when I changed my mind state, and talked to a few people who I respected the opinion of, I was ready to go out there and do it for real and not look back. And so I would say since 2000 mid 2015, I've been on a steady upward incline as far as my musical output and my ability to diversify what it is I bring, as an independent musician. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Have you been independent this whole time?
I have. I've never been signed technically to anybody for real. I've done partnering deals with people for records and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah,
but no, I've been independent this whole time, and now I'm having my biggest years. Right now I like to say I'm not even in my prime yet.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Always a prime to be in.
Yeah. So it's been going. It's been a steady, like I said before, it's been a steady incline for me, and it's because I found my lane, and I know my worth, and and I don't have anything to complain about. This is the occupation I chose. This is the career path I chose. So, what are you going to complain about your own decision? If you're going to complain about your decision, then change it, do something else, and make a better situation for yourself. But, if I chose it, I'm not going to complain about it. That's where I'm at now.
That's very well worded.
What year did you decide to fully make the transition from social worker to full-time artist?
It was in 2007.
2007.
So, yep, from that point on, I was no longer a full-time human services employee.
So when you did that, were you just what kind of thing did you use financially to make that switch over? Were you getting a lot of shows, then you started seeing more ways to be able to not work as the social service?
Yeah, I started getting booked for shows. I put out my first solo record in 2007, and it did pretty good. So I saw that. I was like, oh, if I put out music, I can sell it and make money.
Yeah.
And I started getting paid for shows, and I started getting paid for guest appearances on people's records. I was on a lot of albums. I was on a lot of releases. I've dropped a lot of verses on people's stuff.
I've heard you throughout my whole childhood raps, and all the people that I've been. I'm like, oh, he was on that album, and he was on that crew, he was on that song. And I was even looking through a bunch of stuff. I'm like, I remember him being on a lot of stuff, and you've been on a bunch of artists that I've been digging since I was a kid. So
thank you.
It's cool to actually can come and actually have a talk with you about stuff. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was it. It was diversifying my portfolio. Putting my hands in a bunch of different areas, and I think really one of the things that rejuvenated, even jump-started my independent musician career even more was beatboxing. When I started looping, that kind of changed. That very much changed everything.
When did you get your first loop pedal? I was waiting to get into that because I'm like, that's a big part of how cool your performance is.
Well, thank you. 2007 is when I started using it. I had it a little bit before that, and I was afraid of it. I was driving around with it in my trunk like a little punk. I'd open up the trunk. I like to tell this story. I've told this a couple times. Any Pulp Fiction fans out there? Do you see the movie Pulp Fiction?
I've seen it.
Sorry.
You haven't seen what?
I know. I suck at watching classic movies.
Watch Pulp Fiction. It's a good movie.
Okay.
So there's that scene where they open up the briefcase, and it's always shining bright light in there. That's what it was like when I opened the trunk, and my loop pedal was just sitting in there. Open it up, and be like, oh,
you're like, I'm scared.
No, but it was just it's in there. When you stop being scared, you take it out and learn it. And then one night, I took it out and I taught myself how to do it. I taught myself how to loop, in Idea's basement. You know who Idea is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was showing her a little bit of him before you got here too.
That's my heart. That's my best friend. Rest in peace to the best. But I was in his studio finishing up my solo album, my first album, and I was like, yo, if you're going to bed, let me pull out this loop pedal and teach myself how to work it. He was like, go ahead. You know, so I pulled it out and I locked myself in his studio for about 2.5, 3 hours, taught myself how to work it until about 3 or 4 in the morning. And then the next day I took it to a show and did it.
Yeah.
Did the loop pedal for the first time at the show right after, and I never looked back from there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Probably inspired so much different, inspired so much different forms of creativity for your performance.
My goodness. It is the thing that, like, I made music, but I became a musician after the pedal. There's a difference. Like, you can make music, but are you really a musician?
Yeah.
I think we throw that word around sometimes. Like, how creative are you? You know, like I started, that's when I became a producer for real. Like, I always had the ear.
Yeah.
I had the ear because I studied so much hip hop. I studied so much music, but I wasn't able to put things together until I got that pedal. And now when I'm in the studio, I hear things in layers. I always heard things in layers. You know, like I could listen to a song and kind of separate it and be like, what's happening here? What's that? You know? And now I can actually physically do what I think I'm hearing in my head. You know, so that's a whole nother superpower to have, you know. So that was it. When I got the pedal, it just changed the game for me.
It's almost like learning a new language so you can communicate with another half of the country or whatever. Like, you can communicate your feelings better.
Yeah, and you can talk to yourself.
Yeah. Like,
I don't get bored. I sit with my pedal. I could pull out my pedal and mess around with loops and beats for 5, 6, 7 hours at a time if I had that space, which I will soon.
Yeah.
But I love to just experiment. You know, when I used to have the opportunity, I would lock myself in a room and just make beats, make songs, make sounds, you know, sample stuff and then layer on top of it. And the pedal is what allowed me to be able to do that. The Boss RC20XL.
And you still use the same one today?
Still use the same. Well, it's a different one of the same one. I have about 4 of them.
Okay.
I'm a collector.
Cool.
I collect pedals and microphones.
He's a life looper.
Yeah. Yep.
Lifetime looper.
Lifetime looper. So yeah, I have a few of them, but that's the one I swear by because it's the quickest one. It allows me to produce and drop and create on the fly. So it's the easiest one to use. And people are like, "Oh, you should get this other one." I'm like, "Well, no, this is the one that works for me." And if I have that one, I can chain 7 or 8 other pedals to it. You know, if you have the other one, it's just so big. It's the one thing by itself. And there's versatility, but you know, I will get bored easily if I don't keep myself entertained. Yeah. You know, but luckily I'm able to keep myself entertained and having multiple pedals and figuring out how to make them all work together is fun to do. Yeah. Yeah.
No, your pedal, like your use of the pedals to make the sound like half the time, you know, it's like not even a voice anymore. It's like so distorted and so cool. Those pedals make your sound so crazy.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to like try stuff. Just let me try this. I'll do something and sometimes and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that could happen. You know, like, and a lot of times the same thing hardly ever happens twice. Like it's never exactly the same because your voice is gonna, you know, have a different timbre. It's gonna feel different. You know, every day. I did 2 shows yesterday, but if I did a show today, my voice is a little bit more worked today. So if I made something today, it would sound different from if I made the same beat yesterday. And that's fun. You know, it's fun to find those new pockets.
And your voice just keeps evolving over time too, as we age, which is kind of fun.
It is. I listen to some of my old stuff and I'm like, oh, I remember when my voice sounded so creamy and smooth right there. Now it has a little bit of rasp to it and it has a little bit more edge to it now. Yeah. And I'm learning to be okay with that.
I feel the same. Like I can tell how old I was by the recording.
How young you were, you mean?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Let's use those. Well, you know what? The other thing is not.
I had to think about that. I was like, wait.
Well, there's nothing wrong with old either. Like it's it's just a number. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So say it however you. Yeah, there we go. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, actually, I was like, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way, how young you were, how old you were, it's all relative. You know, how old do you feel? And if you feel old, then who cares? I mean, you are older, right? If you're older, you're older.
Right.
You know, it's just you've been here for a while.
Should feel old sometimes.
You should still be learning.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
Like even at an old age, keep learning, you know?
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, so let's have some of your age show right now, Mr. Terrell.
Let's do it.
How did you used to promote yourself when you started coming up back in the day? Like when you were like trying to make your new when you put out your first album, how did you bring it to people? How did you shop it around? And how did you like kind of navigate putting yourself out there, especially when you first started?
Being everywhere, finding a way and a reason to be wherever I needed to be in order to show my face. I would go to almost every show. I mean, and to be honest, I was invited to a lot of shows or invited to do a lot of shows when I was coming up because people wanted me at the shows. People cared about my presence. People cared about my opinion. People cared about me being on stage and collaborating. Like I would go places. Sometimes I would just go to a show and I wasn't there to perform. And then somebody would see me and be like, yo, Carnage is here. Get up on the stage. And I'm like, oh. So I learned to be prepared to take the stage at any time I went somewhere. And to be honest, it's kind of funny. If I went to 10 shows, I honestly got invited on the stage for 8 to 9 of them. It was crazy.
Whoa.
Like a lot of times, if it was a hip hop show, like if I was going to a show that wasn't a hip hop show, maybe not as much, because I did like to go to shows that weren't hip hop shows so I could spectate. And I used to like to really see what was going on with other people, what's really happening out there that's not hip hop. Sure. And I can find inspiration. Like I watch non-hip hop performers, and more often than with hip hop performers, I learn something new. Mm-hmm. Like I don't really learn a lot from hip hop performers. Sorry to say, y'all ain't teaching me nothing no more. But watching performers who are not hip hop artists has made me step up my game. Mm-hmm. Like I watch somebody do something and I'm like, I learned something new, and I don't hesitate to go to those people and be like, thank you for showing me something I didn't know. Mm-hmm. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, but you're like Carnage, you're a rap or you're a hip hop. And it's like, so, you know, like I can learn something from anywhere. And those are the places where I learn the most from that aren't the places that aren't hip hop shows. Mm-hmm. Not to say I can't learn anything else in hip hop, but that's where I come from. That's who I am. That's what
it's the subject you studied the most.
It's the subject I studied the most. But, being able to diversify my portfolio by checking out things that aren't hip hop is what has allowed me to have more staying power, I think.
Yes.
So yeah, I would go to like at a hip hop show. If it was a hip hop show, I was 8 to 9 times out of 10 being invited to the stage to do something. If it was to bust a freestyle or, beatbox for somebody or, sure. Oh, I got this blank spot on the beat. If you want to come up and bust a verse, I'd try to think of something that I had written or bust a freestyle and get up on the stage and rap, know? So I was everywhere.
Yeah.
This is a long answer to that.
No, it's perfect.
I give long answers.
We love that here.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, these are, you said it, that's perfect. That's a very good, that's a thread that I'm hearing a lot is just going to the shows, showing up, being a part of the community, and like same thread right there.
Look,
from you to now.
Like that I would say being places and collaborating with people because I was in places is just as important to, my reputation development as the practice I was doing, building my skills. Because I did a lot of things by myself. I wrote a lot of songs and practiced a lot of songs. I wrote a song this morning. I was finishing up something I was writing that I was paid to write this morning. So I'm always trying to, come up with new stuff. And that's all good. But what about going out and connecting with people who are outside of your immediate sphere?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're in your own bubble.
there's other things to learn out there. There's other people to grow from.
In your immediate bubble.
Yeah.
Going into the bigger sphere and getting out of your bubble is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
We can all sit in our bubble, but like what's out in the wider area for you to check out. And that has been very, very helpful for me to go out and like see what's happening out there, connect with people and be there and just be, you know, and people get happy when, you know, you are established and you show up at their show. People are happy. They love it. And, you know, why not make people happy? I like making people happy.
Yeah.
That's one reason we do this.
Right. I like to be happy. I like to see other people happy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go and check out so-and-so's show if I'm not doing my thing tonight.
That's awesome.
You know, and that was, you know, there's something about that.
Is that still your main method of promotional stuff, is just getting out there into the community?
I'm in the community so much because I do so much.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have as much time to hit up shows that aren't mine because I'm always like, you know, like I said, yesterday I had 2 shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it last week? Last week, between Friday and Sunday, I did 6 sets in 3 days. I did a show on Friday, and I did 2 kids shows. 2 sets at a kids event. 2 sets at a kids event for McPhail Center for Music. I did that in the morning. Then I did a show at night. Then I got up and drove to Alexandria, Minnesota, and did 2 more sets for another kids show. All in 3 days.
While we were on the topic of the kids shows, can you talk to us about how you got a grant for a trailer to be able to do something like that? I think that's really cool. And just kind of show how diverse you can really get with doing stuff outside of just like performing to people at a bar, you know?
Well, it was kind of cool because I had recently gotten a $10,000 grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board to put on a theater show. So I did that, and then that's when I produced and put together my album Transformation to Terrell X. So that's the new project. Watch out for that.
I was gonna security guard. Nice.
Well, we'll talk about that a little later.
Definitely wanted to ask you about that too.
Yeah. But after I got that approved for that grant, it was like my partner was like, "Yo, you should apply for this other grant and build a mobile stage." And I was like, no. She was like, if you were to apply for a grant to build something, what would you build? And then at the same time, we both said a stage. It came out of both of our mouths. And we just started laughing like, yo, that's a good idea. And then I was like, and I would have it look like, and then she started finishing the sentence. She was like, it would look like Optimus Prime's trailer, because she knows I'm a big Transformers fanatic. And that's basically one of the inspirations behind it was Optimus Prime's trailer. The 1984 Transformers, the old school cartoon.
Yeah.
And Optimus Prime had the trailer, and it only opened up a couple times. But I know the trailer opens up. And so I had to think of what I would call my trailer. And I called it the Collaboratory Outdoor Music Deck.
Ooh.
And Optimus Prime's trailer is called the Combat Deck.
Ooh.
So I was like, I'm playing off of the deck a little bit, you know? I didn't want to call it a trailer. I didn't want to call it stage.
Yeah.
I think the Collaboratory Outdoor Music Deck sounds cool. When you hear that,
sick. Yeah.
It makes you go,
what is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
You know, all the words make sense, you know? So you know what the words mean, but what is an outdoor music deck?
Right.
Well, it's a mobile stage.
It sounds way cooler the way you said it.
Yeah. I like to make my own descriptions for things. But yeah, so I built that I got that stage built. Shout out to Make It Max for putting that thing together. But we just got together and we put the schematics together for it, and then it was I would say about 3 months in the making to get it finished, and now it's up and moving around. And the funny thing is I haven't even really promoted it yet, because the people who were responsible for choosing me as one of 3 people. So it was myself and then this other partnership They did like a mobile library. Theirs was pretty cool too.
Cool.
But I think a few people applied for this grant, and we were the 3 who got it. And the people who approved me to get the grant are the people who basically have booked it. So they helped me book. So I have. Cool. So this year alone, I've had 10 events with it. I'm scheduled to play between March, when I did the first thing, and at the end of August, I'm playing 10 events with it, and I haven't even promoted it yet. So
cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Do you have a picture of it? Sorry to interrupt.
I do.
Ooh. I would love to see it. You can show us afterwards. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'll throw it on the screen.
Yep, I'll send it. I'll send you a couple different pictures of it.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. On Friday, I did a car show. The car show was dope.
Whoa!
So it was like me sitting in the middle of a parking lot with a whole bunch of dope ass 50s and 60s cars. It was so dope. So yeah, it's really cool to be mobile. Like I really feel like I feel free.
Mm-hmm.
I feel free and boundless. You know, I have my own stage. I have my own PA. You know, I just basically do whatever I really want to do. If I don't want to do the regular thing, I can do my own thing a lot of times. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of us, especially hip hop artists, that we lack is our drive to be 100% self-sufficient. That's something that I've been striving to do for a few years. And it started with me booking my own tours. So I started booking my own tours in 2016. And do
you have a manager?
No.
Nope.
I do it all myself.
Wow.
So, and you know, 100% self-sufficient. I do all the booking and I get all the money.
Right.
I do all the work. I get all the money.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it goes. And yes, we need money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, money ain't everything. It is. It is. You can do anything you want with it.
Right.
You know, so it is. You know, it's crazy. People know money. No, we all need money, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, everything's more expensive. So the more you make, the more you can take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm really free. I feel really free.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
like that is
awesome.
That's so
Thank
cool
you.
to hear. How just keeping going on the same path led you to your own freedom, and that's beautiful.
I really want to see more artists do that. If you're an up and coming artist, especially a hip hop artist, and you want to, you know, chop it up with me about how to be more self-sufficient, holler at me, please, because we can build an army. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? info@carnagetheexecutioner.com. Hit me up. We can talk. Mm-hmm. Because this is serious. I'm not being cliche right now. I'm like, you know, friends of friends need to get together and buy their own PA.
Right.
You know, so that we're not begging, you know, shitty dive bars to play when
you don't have to pay them $500 to use their PA system. They're gonna take a cut of the door anyways.
No, and some of that stuff sounds like shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you get your own shit and you take care of it. Then can we swear?
Yeah.
You get your own you get your own equipment and you take care of it and you call your own shots.
Yeah.
You know, I bought my own PA and within 2 uses I had paid for it. You know,
that's so crazy.
Yep. And I've had it for like I got it right before the pandemic. Oh, nice. So I've made my money back off of it already.
Right.
You know,
like it's tenfold.
It's very freeing to have your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what led to the transformation of Terrell X from Carnage the Executioner?
There's a lot of things that led to that.
Okay.
That's a whole story. We getting into that one now? Y'all got any more questions in the other area?
What time are we at? We're at 45.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
we're actually doing really good on time.
We got about 15 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? What's next? You want to go into the Terrell X stuff? Is that where we're at? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go into the Terrell X.
Man. Okay. All right. The story. Carnage the Executioner has always been a character. I mean, listen to the name. There's no way you can like really think that that's a real person.
Sounds like a wrestler.
Right. It's like I've had people be like, "Oh, we thought you were white. We thought you were a metal band." And all of this. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. Just buy the music and spell my name right, whatever it is. But yeah, I started going by Carnage the Executioner in 98, I want to say. 98. Before that, my name was T Swift.
Yeah.
Before Taylor Swift. Yes. Yeah, I was the first T Swift.
Wow.
Shout out to all my friends out there who know who T Swift is.
The original Swifties.
Yep. Did you know that her and I have similar birthdays? Hers is December 13th. I'm December 14th.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'll do a song with her. You want to beat?
You
want to beat? You want to beat Taylor Swift? I got you. But yeah, so I was T Swift first, and then I was like, yo, I need to update my formula. I need to come with a name that's gonna like assert dominance. I want people to hear my name and be like, yo, we ain't fucking with that dude. Or we fucking with him, but we ain't fucking with him. You know, we ain't gonna test him. So I was like, Carnage the Executioner. That sounds serious. And I ran it past a couple friends and they were like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. Keep it. So for years, I went by Carnage the Executioner, Carnage the Executioner, tearing up tracks and tearing down shows and hitting the road and, you know, doing my thing. And then I got to a point where I was like, I want to be more personal with my music, but it didn't fit to be trying to be personal with the character of Carnage the Executioner. Mm-hmm. It felt like it wouldn't be taken as seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're talking some life stories, but you're Carnage the Executioner. Mm-hmm. So so I started thinking about that. And I would still write. I would even write rhymes and be like, yo, I'm Carnage and I'm out here to live up to the name and all this, you know, but that was the hard part of the name, you know? Sure. And so I tried to, and it did make sense. I tried to say that Carnage the Executioner was more of a journey. It was more of a journey from where I started to where I'm trying to go. Yeah. And that makes sense too, because I've seen a lot of carnage and destruction in my life, and I've even caused some destruction. I've done some things that I'm not happy with, you know? So I was like, okay, if this is a journey, it kind of makes sense. And then I started thinking even more, and I started saying, what you call yourself has a lot of meaning. You know, what you choose to carry as an identity can really influence where you go in life. And I started to question my birth name. So that's how the Terrell X thing started happening. So my government name is Maynard Terrell Woods. Terrell is my middle name. I was always called Terrell. Everybody always called me that. Maynard is my dad's first name. You know, Woods is my mom's last name. And Terrell is the only name that doesn't belong to somebody else. It's my middle name, but it's not a junior. There's nobody else who has that name. Sure. So I started thinking, and one day I was like, you know what? My history, my lineage has a lot of pain in it. It has a lot of destruction. It has a lot of negativity, and there's some evil in there. And I'm like, I want to start getting rid of names that don't suit me anymore. And I was like, Maynard, well, that's my dad. He ain't never did shit for me. Why do I need to carry that name? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, my mom is Woods, you know, hate to say it, but, you know, the Woods family hasn't been the most upstanding, you know, group of people, you know, out there. Shout out to the Woods, but, you know, the rest of who's left, let's get it together or not, or whatever the deal is. Right. But I was like, you know what? I should be who I want to be. I should make my own name. If I can make my own name, I can forge my own path even further. And I've been doing that anyway. So yes, you are right. All of the freedom I've allowed myself to have by calling my own shots and making my own path, I've already done that in my career. So it does make sense to do that with my own identity too. Sure. So I said, you know what? Terrell X. I like the letter X. I've always liked the letter X. So then I started looking for X names because I've always liked X names. I like the letter X. So I'm like, okay, let me look, let me find. I saw Xavier, you know, all these. And then I ran across the name Xavion. I was like, ooh, I like that. Xavion. Some people say Xavion. Yeah. I like Xavion. It sounds powerful. It sounds strong. It sounds important. So I looked up what it meant, and it meant intelligent, spiritual warrior, and survivor. And I was like, that's me. That's me. I've survived a lot. You know, I've you know, I'm spiritual without being religious. I believe in the universe. I believe that there's a higher power, a higher calling out there helping us direct ourselves in the right direction, and helping us steer ourselves in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I was like, Terrell Xavion. That's what I'm legally going to change my name to. I'm going to change my name. Eventually, I will be Terrell Xavion.
Love that.
But I have to earn the name. I have a little bit more work to do.
Okay.
So until Xavion becomes the legal identity or the full identity, Terrell X is the placeholder.
Okay.
So the X is technically for Xavion, but it also symbolizes the unknown potential.
Wow.
Where can I possibly go? How far can I go?
This goes deep, and thank you for explaining it to us.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah.
So, Terrell's unknown potential is kind of what Terrell X is.
Incredible.
So then, right. So I'm looking at the record title after I got the grant, and I'm like, Carnage the Executioner presents Transformation to Terrell X. Yeah.
That's so
good. I know. It's so good.
So good.
It just felt good.
And with the Transformers, like,
hello.
I thought the Transformers.
It's all there.
That's so
it's
good.
all there. It's all there. Yeah, when y'all listen to the album, you'll see. And call it cheesy if you want, but I put it together real dope. When people hear the album, they're gonna be like,
nice.
I hope people are like, yo, it has a theme to it, and it. I don't know, depend on how you use this word loosely. It loosely or tightly revolves around Transformers lore.
Nice.
So it's dope. It just made sense.
Yeah.
Everything about it made sense, and it all fell into place. And of course, I thought a lot about it, but not so much that it was forced. Yeah. Everything just kind of started falling into place, and I'm like, that's it. So for all the people who have asked, I'm not getting rid of Carnage. Carnage is a character. Carnage has served a purpose.
Sure.
Carnage is actually the character I enacted so that I could do all the things that a regular human couldn't do, because I grew up as a very angry young man.
Sure.
Idea once he told me, he was listening to my rhymes. He was like, say your rhymes, a cappella, say it. And I'm saying my rhymes. And he's like, let me see the paper. Give me the, because I still type all my rhymes. And I had the paper, and he was like, I just want to see how it looks, how the words look, and if they're indicative of how you rap. And he's like saying words, and he's like, you literally write with the percussion of an angry person. You're an angry person.
Dang.
And I'm like, I know. Look, man, idea is, and I say is because his influence is not gone.
Never.
He is a god. He is, and not in that cliche way, oh, he's just the best. No, he's so prophetic. Like
he saw through so much of the fuzz.
He's
so young.
Yeah, he was such a visionary, and he would say things that were so real, so true, and so on point. Sometimes you shed a little tear. It was too real. And he said that, and I remember him saying, "You're angry," and I was like, "I am."
Yeah.
I'm looking at these raps, and I'm talking like people who know the old Carnage, man. I got some shit out there that I would never rap again. I would never say those. I would never play those songs again. I don't ever want to listen to them again.
Right.
Because I've said some pretty harsh, crazy stuff before it became popular for the Eminem shock value. I was doing that a long time ago.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of trying to make something personal out of something that was a character in the first place, I'll just keep the character where it's at and add the realistic, more personal element to my repertoire. And that's where Terrell X steps in. So it's Carnage the Executioner and Terrell X.
I love that.
Yeah, Carnage serves a purpose. Carnage was Terrell's bodyguard.
Yeah.
While Terrell X was trying to find himself, Carnage was there to safeguard him. Carnage served as the outlet for all that energy that I needed to get out instead of going out and doing something that would affect the future Terrell X.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
just blame it on Carnage.
Just blame it on Carnage. But see, it was more the destructive rapping. I always talked about like killing everything. You murder everything, so nothing is like you cut the executioner, you cut the head off. What functions without the head? It's gone. It's done. You want it? Good luck.
Yeah.
But I'm not there anymore. I want to build. I don't want to destroy. I want to uplift.
Carnage the builder.
Yeah, Carnage is the executioner.
Oh.
Terrell X is the builder.
Yes.
So Carnage is the destroyer. Terrell X is the healer.
Nice.
And so yeah, you just get the record when it's ready. It's coming. It's coming. I'll slide y'all a copy.
That'd be awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Like it is. Dare I say, it's easily my best work. Like I'm 50 years old. I'll be 50 this year. I'm 50 doing my best work.
I'm really excited to listen to it because just hearing the story of how your life is falling into place, and I like how you said before about the universe just knows what's right for you and it guides you in some mysterious way we don't know. But if you just trust the path and keep going with what makes you happy and feels good,
that's it.
Then shit just kind of falls into place. And so I'm really excited to hear the music that comes out of that transition.
That part, and I'm really a strong believer in our soul, our past lives that our soul has lived. Our souls have lived forever.
Right.
They've been around. They've been around for a long time. And sometimes I'll say to myself, how did I know this? How did I know to do this? Where did that? Well, because maybe I experienced something like that in a past life. Because some things just kind of happened too crazily in place.
Right.
It's just like, how did I know that? How did that fall? You know, in one on the title track for the album, I have a line. I say, left the realm of a victim, having chose a slave look. I have been here. My soul sat and wrote a playbook. Plus, I don't forget to look in every direction to praise the ancestors who left a single set of footprints. You know, I'm just it's like some of the stuff I'm doing on that record is like, I didn't write that.
Right.
Something else wrote that.
Yeah.
You know,
like send a message.
Something is sending me. The ancestors are channeling.
Dude, I'm gonna cry. Stop.
I was getting goosebumps earlier. I didn't want to rip them up.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Zoom in on the tears in my eyes.
There it is. Yes, look. Yes, yes. This is beautiful. Look at this beautiful human over here crying, feeling the energy.
It's too real.
I'm saying. What? Okay, can I ask you? I'm gonna interview you for a second. What part? What made the tears come? That was deep.
Yeah, that hit really deep. I don't know. I agree with everything you're saying so much, and I feel it, and I think we all have lived before, and we'll all live again. And death really isn't really even a thing, and energy is always transferred and not destroyed.
That's it.
I think there is some higher power that just kind of like zaps you, and then you write a song, and then you spread that through the internet and through people that you perform in front of, and it's all one thing working for itself.
Yes. Yep. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you can choose to say that you're a victim of your circumstance and that things in life make you do. That's why I say I left the realm of a victim. I haven't chose a slave. Look, I'm not a slave my lineage isn't, I'm not an ex-slave from Africa. That's not my identity. Mm-hmm. You know, I am more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take that as the only thing that I should be identified by. Mm-hmm. You know, my soul has taken me places. My soul is guiding me in the direction I need to go. And it's some real shit. I really feel like there's a higher power speaking and a higher conscience that comes from an experience that I haven't been yet able to put my finger on.
Yeah.
Is the transformation to Terrell X kind of you tapping into that? Like, do you think Carnage was tapping into that as much as Terrell is?
No, Carnage wasn't tapping into that. Carnage was tapping into how to kill shit.
Yeah.
how to make a spectacle out of every scene. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, the aftermath of a war is carnage. What's left behind. That's what Carnage was tapped into doing. I'm gonna level the whole place so that nothing survives. If I die in the process, oh well. You know, that's anger.
Can I ask, did psychedelics play a part in this transformation at all?
I've never been high.
Okay.
I've never smoked weed. I've never taken any drugs.
Okay.
I've been intoxicated off of alcohol twice in my life.
Whoa.
Really?
So, okay.
Yeah, and that was in the 90s.
Oh.
Cool.
You know, I got a little tipsy one time in early 2000.
Sure.
No, it's I don't need that because I have so many other things.
Obviously not. No, you got it.
I got so many other things.
I had to take mushrooms to figure that one out.
Yeah, I got a homie. Shout out to my brother PCP. Is like, yo, I'm gonna get you on shrooms one day. It's a healthy thing. I'm like,
you don't need it.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think you learned it all.
PCP. You might have to sedate me to get me going against the double. Okay,
double it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I don't need that stuff. Like I'm able to, if I just sit with myself and explore me. That's a journey in itself. I don't need no fucking alcohol. I don't need no fucking.
You don't even drink coffee.
I don't. I like cake and shit. You know what I'm saying? I like sweets and ice cream. That's my drug. Ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, yeah. So yeah. That I didn't need any of that other stuff. I really am. What do you call it? I am a reflector. I'm a self-reflector. Mm-hmm. I reflect. Yeah. I sit and like ponder and think and debate myself and I do all this. And I had a lot of time to do that when I was touring by myself, especially. I came up with a lot of cool ideas when I was touring by myself, especially in 2019. And all of that stuff helped build a bridge to how I got here. And now it's only upwards from here. Yeah. Yeah. Got so much more work to do and so much more fun to have.
That's incredible. We're excited to watch the growth progress.
I appreciate it. Forever. I appreciate it. Yeah. And the record is good. The record, it's better than good. Like I did a good job on it, and it's 100% self-produced.
Whoa, I was just gonna ask. Yep, that's really cool.
I made, you know, I had a little bit of help chopping samples up the way I wanted them to sound.
Sure.
What DAW did you use?
This is fun. Check this out. Shout out to my brother Concentrate, my brother Big Jess. You know who Big Jess is from Unknown Prophets? Interview him. Mm-hmm.
Or reach out.
Yeah, I'll give you his information. But I have, you know, a memory bank of songs and sounds and different things. And I said, you know what? I want to do this Terrell X record and use samples that kind of fit the narrative and samples that influenced me when I was coming up. So I never heard anybody quite sample Herbie Hancock Rocket. And that was a big song in my, you know, development as, you know, wanting to be a DJ. So I sampled Rocket and I chopped it up the way I wanted it to sound. I had my brother Concentrate hook it up the way I was hearing it in my head. So I'll get samples and I'll chop them and get them chopped and manipulated by my friends because I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't use Pro Tools and all that. Yeah. I use pedals in my mouth and a microphone. That's what I do. Yeah. So I had my homies help me chop the samples the way I wanted them to sound. And then I took those samples and laid them down and then put my sounds, beatboxing and stuff on top of them. So when you hear the record, all the drums, all the bass lines, all the vocal scratches, all of that is me with a bed of samples underneath to kind of keep the thing moving. Sure. So yeah, when people are going to put it in their car and be like, there's no way that's his bass. There's no way that's his mouth making that bass sound. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it is. Like
if they've seen you live, then they'll totally be convinced that would be it.
Yeah, but like, you know, some people might think that it doesn't translate in the studio. But you got to know what you're doing, and you got to have the right engineer. Shout out to PCP. He engineered my record, and he helped bring everything I had in my head to the forefront. I had so many ideas, so many things, and a lot of them I was thinking of ideas on my way to the studio. I'm driving, like, oh, I'm gonna do this when I get there. You know, like my brain works like that. And I'm making stuff up in the studio as I'm recording on the fly because I've done it for so many years on stage anyway. Yeah. So I would literally be like, oh, let me put this in here. Let me try this. Let me do this. And then I do it. And then PCP would turn around and be like, yo, yeah. And I'm like, I'm just kind of coming up with it right now too. You know, I have some ideas, but some of it is freestyle. Yeah. You know, so I'm like improvisational jazz human beatboxing in the studio too. Cool. You know, I'm really proud of the production on the record because again, it's all me. And like 75% of it is my mouth.
That's so cool. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, this episode probably won't be out for a couple months. So by then, maybe we could link where they could find all of this beautiful music and stuff. Is it going to be online?
I'm debating on if I'm going to put it up for streaming.
Oh, okay.
I might not.
Cool.
But it'll at least be available on my Bandcamp.
For sure, they could purchase.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
There'll be physical copies. There'll be a way people can even play it.
Yeah.
I'm still debating.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet, and I'm thinking I'm more leaning towards not putting it on streaming.
Yeah, dude.
I like the Bandcamp route at least.
Yeah.
At least people can support you with it.
Right. And I don't have to. Like, I remember the days of, having to be, I need to put it on, like free music. Y'all, Spotify. I got dope albums on Spotify. I'm not really making money off of that because I don't push that.
No one's making money on
that. 0.0038 cents.
Right.
You ain't even get half a penny. It's all, whatever. Support me another way. Come to my show or buy a physical copy of something. And I guarantee it's a piece of art. The physical thing is a piece of art, and I guarantee you'll be happier with it than if you just bought a stream.
Yeah.
For that. The more I think of, the more I'm even talking about it, I'm more leaning towards not.
Right.
It's looping back around eventually, and a lot of people that really want to support the musicians would rather buy the physical piece.
That part,
like the pendulum is swinging to the opposite side. We're kind of in the transition right now.
It is coming around. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like it is
because the artists are feeling fucked too.
Well, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 27.
Okay, so your age group, what are y'all like? What is your focus? You're a little closer to my age.
Well, I grew up around like LimeWire and buying music to put on my iPod as a child. And that's what I grew up around, like a lot of CDs. I bought a lot of CDs. And well, now I just listen to everything on streaming, and that's where I put my personal music too. I guess just because that's how it was when I started music 4 years ago. I was just like, you should put your music on Spotify and iTunes and whatever else is a free platform, just so people can hear it. And that's just kind of what I did. I didn't really think about it too much. But now, like, getting into talking about more artists and how they're promoting their own music, like physically going to places and handing out flyers is still like a really good resource, and going and meeting people in person and being more personable with it, which I think the Bandcamp route and having people support artists. After the pandemic, I think that people realized how much artists and entrepreneurs need support.
Yeah, we need that direct to consumer.
Yeah.
We need that.
It's turning. I haven't released music in a while, so figuring it out. Yeah.
Well, y'all let me know if y'all want to collaborate. I love collaborating.
We would love to do that.
We can kill it.
We can make something crazy.
Yeah, we both. So we used to be with Dave Elk and his project, and since that all happened, we have since split off and did have our own project started now. So Neil has a duo bass music DJ called Seven Swords.
Yep, I
like that name.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, my buddy got it off a tarot card.
Oh,
wow. It's from the card, it's basically how we interpret it is there's a guy running from a battle with 5 of the 7 swords, and it's kind of like the idea of coming out of something horrible, but at least coming out with something or trying to make something great out of it is kind of what we're going with, because of what happened with Dave. That, like, me and Hugh a couple months later are like, well, he'd want us to continue making music and continue this freaking grind. And once we were able to shake the dust off of it, we started releasing music, producing music, and started our own kind of band thing with that. So that's kind of what I've been doing besides this podcast. So
congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
I can't wait to hear it. Let's collaborate on something.
I would love to, man. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love to collaborate with Terrell X.
Yeah.
Yes,
Terrell
X.
That'd be sick.
That's where it's at. Yeah. Carnage is cool, but Terrell X.
Yeah.
That was another thing you brought up, flyers. That was a way, but that wasn't even as prevalent back in the days. You said, how do we get ourselves out? How did I get myself out there? We used to hand out flyers, but that wasn't even as useful as actually going to a show and showing up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times if I showed up at a show, I'm getting in front of the people because somebody's like, yo, get up on the stage. So that beats a flyer. To me, that beats a flyer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just didn't keep flyers anyway. So that was probably the third or fourth thing that I did the most. But being at shows was the most lucrative, and staying relevant as far as doing a lot of songs and doing stuff with other people. That might have been the second most,
collabing.
Well, if I ever see you at my show, you're coming up on stage.
I would love to. I'll get up the bus.
I do R&B, so that would be fun to do a little jam session.
I got beats for that too.
Terrell X / Ferry Boat is my band name.
Ferry Boat?
Ferry Boat.
I love it.
Yeah.
Y'all got some dope names.
Thank you.
Kind of one of those things where I ran it past a couple people and they're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Just waited a couple months until I had a good
Don't you love
name.
when it falls into place?
Yes.
You think you have an idea and you're like, I got to run this past the people who matter. And they go, and they confirm.
Yeah.
They confirm.
Like, yeah, you're right. Yes.
Yeah. So did you have a single coming out? You have a single on your...
I'm recording my first EP in the next couple months for Fairy Boat. I have music under my name, Brea Scout, on Spotify, but that's kind of like my old, that's Carnage Executioner to me.
Right. I got you. So what I want, I'm going to propose this right now. Whatever a single is on your album, I want to remix it.
Okay.
So that's one of the things I want. I've said this a couple years, but now I'm gonna have my own studio. Or if you have access to a studio, we could come in and lay it down.
You're sitting in it.
Oh, this is it. You can do it.
The whole school, Neil and I have access to. So,
yeah, we have a key.
Yeah.
We can come in whenever we want.
Okay, so keep this in mind. When you get ready to do that, you get your record, and then you figure out what your single is. Let's do a remix and have me come in and lay a beatbox remix of your song.
Let's do it.
Because I want to eventually start doing that. That's how a lot of my favorite producers came up doing remixes. Like, Pete Rock was doing remixes, and he's the main one. DJ Premier, people doing remixes for other artists' singles. Yeah. And I want to be that dude. I want to do that beatbox remake.
That would be super fun.
Be so cool.
And I feel like I could do that with any song. So you might be my first one.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Heck yeah, Brea.
Wow.
Well, I know y'all got to go, but
we
could do this for another 3 hours.
I know, right? This is so much fun.
But yeah, thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming through.
Before we land this plane, do you have any advice for the community here at Slam that's going to watch the podcast, or any entrepreneurial type artists that want to get started and maybe need some confidence to just keep going? Do you have any advice?
Couple things. One is, when you're writing, don't throw anything away. I always say, like, whatever you write, even if you don't use it, put it to the side. Whatever you record, keep it. Because you never know when you might go back and pull that up. It might inspire you. Mm-hmm. It might make you go, well, I didn't know what I was going to do with it when I started with it, but now I can finish that.
Yeah.
So I kept all of my notebooks. I got notebooks from high school with lyrics in them that I'll never use. But it's funny to go back and read some of the stuff I wrote and be like, why did I say that?
Like a little T Swift.
Yeah, little T Swift. But keep everything you write and keep everything you record so you can access it and pull it back from the archives.
For Ableton users, don't delete those projects.
No.
That are just little loops. Just throw them into
free,
a thing.
bro.
Yep.
Exactly.
Save them.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Somebody you might be able to sell it to somebody else or give it to somebody else, and they might be like, "Yo, this is the best thing I've ever heard." And you're like, "Man, that was whack to me," but somebody else, another man's trash. That type of thing. Another thing would be, don't let anybody tell you shouldn't do what it is you want to do, as long as it's positive. As long as it enhances you as a person, and it fulfills you, and you're not hurting anybody in the process, don't let anybody tell you shouldn't do it. A lot of people will tell you, why do you want to be a musician? Why do you want to do A, B, and C? And there's so much out there, and nobody's going to pay attention to you. It's like, don't listen to those people. Do it. As long as you're not hurting anybody, do you. Build your own lane. I know some of this stuff sounds cliche, but when you really break it down, find the thing that you are good at, that fulfills you, and that maybe nobody else is doing. What is your strength? Trying to be a jack of all trades, might not necessarily be the move for you as an artist. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was upset about my position in local hip hop. And I said, what am I good at? Well, there's a few different things I'm good at, but what is the thing that I concentrate on that hardly anybody else in hip hop focuses on? And it's the live show. It's the quality of the live show. And I said, if I can capitalize on this will set me apart. And I'll just make my own lane. So I started doing these tours, and I started calling myself the show stealer. Somebody actually called me that first when I was on the Atmosphere tour in 2012. In 2010, people started calling me the show stealer. So then I wrote a song for my 2012 album called Attack of the Show Stealer. And that's the one that made people go, oh. So then I started doing tours, and with the title of the show stealer, and people were like, yeah, I see why you call yourself that. that was my lane.
Mm-hmm.
Concentrate on the live show and perfecting it and making it come off in a way that nobody else does. And that was my lane.
Your live looping performance with hip hop and your rapping is insane.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You honed that shit in so well.
Agreed.
That was it.
Yeah.
If I could try to do what everybody else is doing, or I could do what I'm good at and concentrate on that. And then now that's what I'm known for.
And he still doesn't know how to play guitar. So just kidding.
Nope. I mean, and one day I will learn, but right now I don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm able to do whatever I want to do with what I have right now. In this moment, I can make any sound, any form of music, collaborate with anybody, do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to necessarily know how to play an instrument or read music. That's another thing. You don't have to, learn music and play music in the traditional form. Do what you can and learn how to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
That'll really help. Because you'll come up with stuff and then run it past people. Don't be afraid to share your stuff with people who are going to give you an honest opinion.
Yeah.
Don't surround yourself with yes men who are just going to tell you how good your shit is.
Yeah.
Idea told me when my shit was whack.
Yeah.
He told me.
You need someone. Every artist of any kind needs someone in their life that's that honest.
Yep, to challenge you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Find that challenging person. So, those challenging people,
Mm-hmm.
even more than one, is going to be helpful. That's the best of the advice I can come off the head with.
That's perfect,
Beautiful.
brother. You're very wise,
you.
my friend. Like, this has been very insightful.
Thank you. Terrell X.
Very welcome. Terrell X in the building. Let's
Terrell
go.
X.
Is the wise one.
Exactly. We're talking with Terrell X right now. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for coming in today, Terrell.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you, guys. Bye, Slam.
Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for watching SlamCast. Wasn't that a fun episode?
Want to become a member at Slam Academy? Go to slamacademy.com for more information.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.